Contender Series Week 8, 2025. We're going to break down each one of the fights. Also tell you about our $5 best bet. That is up. Let's jump right into it. As soon as I can get the right. My God, you'd think it was my first day doing this. All right, let's start with Rashid Vagabov against Paulo da Silva. And Vagabov is a massive favorite. He got up to minus 810 on DraftKings last night. This has dropped down to minus 620. He's the rightful favorite, and it's kind of tough to make the case for his opponent. Vagabov is going to shoot a lot of takedowns. He's got good submissions on the ground. He's fought some really experienced and talented guys. So, this is not a guy who's coming in with a real fraudulent record. Paulo da Silva, he's 11-1, but again, this might be a little bit of a fraudulent record. He fought Paiva last fight, barely gets a split decision win. It was a pretty close fight. But before that, he's fighting guys 1-0, 2-2, 1-1, 0-0, 2-17. I don't know. If you're 2-16, I might think about hanging it up. But whatever. Family's got to eat. All right. His only lost his very first fight that he ever fought. So what do we see from da Silva? I've seen him get taken down kind of easily, and that's a big problem against Vagabov. Okay striker. I will say this. Physically, he looked great at face-offs. Like, he's shredded. I'm not saying he's on the special vitamins. I'm just saying he looked really, really good. So maybe Silva spurs the upset. It would have to be a knockout because he's not going to do good on the ground with Vagabov. Vagabov is the pick. If you're going to play Vagabov, I'd just play him by finish because if he gets him on the ground, this guy's really good with his submissions. And, I saw Silva kind of have some exchanges on the ground with Paiva. I just didn't think he looked that great. So Vagabov, you minus 620, minus 600 is a lot. I do think you can lower that price and take him by finish. Because if he's going to win, it's probably going to be by a choke on the ground. Moving on to Kurtis, Campbell, and Demba, Seck. So here's another guy that's going to shoot for takedowns, and this is Kurtis Campbell. He's undefeated. He's definitely got a very unique look. He wears these glasses, obviously not when he fights. He wears pink all the time. He's just got a different look. But boy, once that fight starts, this dude is slick on the ground. He's got some wicked, fast transitions. He's relentless with his takedowns. A touch undersized when you watch him fight, but man, he's all over you. He's got really good technique. He's got a really good body triangle when he gets that locked in. And you have Demba Seck, who's going to be a little bit taller. He's going to have the reach, and he's going to have to keep this on the feet. Otherwise, he's in big trouble. On the feet, it's really no contest. It's Seck, but I've watched Seck get taken down, and I fear that Seck might be in trouble in this one. So he's going to have to use his size and his reach, but in the end, I think Campbell's just going to be too good with his takedowns. I think Campbell gets him on the ground and eventually gets the finish. Here's an interesting parlay. Vagabov and Campbell both to win by submission. I wonder what that pays. That could be a fun little sprinkle just for fun. So moving on to Christopher, Alvidrez, and Kubanza. There's been some hype around Kubanza, and if you don't know this guy's story, he's undefeated. You can't find much on this scuffle combat. But the scuffle combat, I believe this was like kind of like a no holds barred, kind of like, or it was rough. It was very, very rough and very, very violent. That's where this guy started. He finally went the distance in his last fight, but this guy, the guy he fought, Gaidarov, there was a lot of clinching. There was some takedowns, and it wasn't all on the feet. This fight is probably going to be all on the feet. I'll give Kubanza credit. He actually got some takedowns. He knocked down Gaidarov, handed him his first loss. It was a pretty good performance. He showed a lot of patience. I don't think we're getting patience in this one. This is going to be balls to the wall action. Alvidrez is a very talented striker. The only time he's, I don't take much away from losing by decision your second fight. But once he really got his feet under him, knockout. This was in karate combat, much different. This guy hits like a ton of bricks. So both these guys, this fight's going to be a lot of fun. It was probably the most intense face-off of the season between Alvidrez and Kubanza. I mean, Kubanza looked like an absolute maniac. So I would say that there's a chance that this fight could be unbelievably violent and unbelievably fun for as long as it lasts. I will say this: when you get a fight that can turn into a car crash, like we talk about every week, the value's on the underdog, and that it's hit a few times this season where you have these big guys or these big powerful guys. Just take the underdog. These guys are fighting in front of Dana White. They're going to go for finishes. So these guys have nothing to lose, especially Kubanza. So I think a sprinkle on Alvidrez. The other thing with Kubanza, if he comes out super fast and doesn't get the finish, he's the kind of guy that could tire himself out real quick and have an adrenaline dump. So at the price, I say Alvidrez is the side. Dog or pass on this one. So we mentioned $5 pick. It's $5 Tuesday over at WagerTalk. Just go over to WagerTalk.com and you can get our best bet of the night for $5. I have to say this, guys. So our bet lost last week. If you watch the live show, I think most people agreed that the fight that we lost, we won. After the fight is over, Anthony Smith says judges got it wrong. When they're handing out contracts, Dana White even says the judges got it wrong. One person said, oh, it was a bad pick, but I got to tell you, a lot of you guys reached out and said, hey, that was a great pick. Great handicap. The judges messed it up. So thank you guys. Shows we have a very, very good audience that recognizes when we made a good pick. We just didn't get the result. That being said, it's a results-driven business. It's a results-based business. So the pick last week lost. We're going to try and get back on the winning ways this week. But love the play, as always. These are plays that we bet with our own money. So we'll get back. We'll get back to winning tonight. And if you want to join us on the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel tonight, live betting Contender Series is absolutely fantastic, guys. It is the way to go. We've done very, very well live betting. The show's a ton of fun. We do write-ups on all the fighters that get contracts. So, all right, let's move on. Luis Jourdain, this is Charles's brother against Magno Diaz. I'll start with Jourdain. Line has moved drastically on Jourdain. You know, he's got a brother that's in the UFC. He's much taller. I guess the only thing that really concerns me is there's a lot of unknowns about his opponent. So what do we know about Jourdain? Well, in Jourdain's last fight, he got dominated in the first round. He got taken down and was held there. It started the second round and more of the same, but you know, Jourdain eventually kind of got the switch on the position. His opponent got tired a little bit, and Jourdain did not, and Jourdain gets the late finish. So I don't know if you want to look at it like, wow, Jourdain, the only reason he won is because his opponent gassed, or do you say, no, he showed good patience, good defense, and he had the cardio and the stamina to get the finish. He's talented. I don't know if he's a UFC, caliber fighter at this point. I mean, I think if he got put in the UFC and was fighting the bottom of the barrel, he'd have a little bit of success. But he's going to try and keep this on the feet. Magno Diaz, for what film I can see on this guy, it looks like he likes to get takedowns. Although his last fight, which I cannot find, he did get the knockout. Just it says punch. I can't find much about it. He's shorter, but he is strong, man. He can pick guys up and slam them. It doesn't look super technical. It looks kind of more power than technique. So Jourdain's going to come in ready. He's going to have the better like training camp and coaches around him because of his connection with UFC with his brother. Huge line movement, and every time we've seen line movement the day of, that tends to work out. So just based on the live movement on Jourdain, I think I'm going to have to take Jourdain to win. But I would be cautious about betting this one. Diaz trains at Fighting Nerds. We like them. So take that for what it's worth. I probably will not have a bet on this one. And finally, the main event, Vitor Costa and Damian Pinas. Don't blink in this fight. These are two big guys that are going to swing, and someone's going to sleep. I like both of them. I think they're both really good. It's a shame one of them is going to get knocked out and not get a contract. So we'll start with Pinas. in his last fight or in a couple of his fights, he's kind of looked. There's been times where he's like, this guy doesn't look that great. And then he'll do something really athletic or really technical or really slick with his punching. You're like, oh, I see the upside. So I think this guy has a pretty high ceiling, but he does have a lower floor. I've seen him make mistakes. He's been able to overcome those mistakes because he's just been, the more powerful and better guy. I've seen him with a beautiful reverse position on bottom. His punching is really, really good. It's really powerful. He had a fight where I think it was this Johnny Gregory fight where his opponent came out and was just going a million miles an hour, and you were just like, if this guy gets the knockout, great, but if he doesn't, he's going to get exhausted. And Pinas weathered the storm, and sure enough, the guy just got exhausted, and Pinas knocked him into next week. So I was impressed with him doing film on Costa. I love the movement on the feet of Costa. He's got this really nice side-to-side movement. His punches come from different angles. He keeps his head off that center line. Wicked power. I mean, you see these, round one knockouts and stuff. He did go to Decision in LFA, so he's shown that his cardio is pretty good. He fought Cesar Almeida. That's a tough fight. That's a tough fight in your debut. I don't know who's going to win. There's a slightly plus money in this fight, but I can't pick a winner. I really can't. I would just take this fight to be violent. These guys are fighting in front of Dana White. They're both really, really good at knockouts, so I think there's going to be a finish. I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe when we watch the walkouts, or maybe when we watch the video packages, we learn a little tidbit that pushes in the right direction. But it's going to be wait until before the fight before I can really decide on a winner. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Don't forget, guys, we do have our $5 best bet that is up. You can get there shorter, wt.buzz/AL. Coming off bad, brutal loss on the women's fight last night or last week. So we're going to get back on the winning ways tonight, and please join us on the live show on the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel. Join us live. It is a ton of fun. Just a lot of good information that we learn when watching those video packages before the fighters come out. You see who's in their corner, you see where the motivation is, and then we also do write-ups for all the fighters, so you have those when they enter the UFC. And then of course we award the BMF of the night, and we're creeping up at the end of the season where we award the season winner for the baddest male or female fighter. So thanks for joining us. Good luck on your plays. Hopefully we'll see everyone tonight. Take care.